Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gaming.com video. Let's discuss some new rumours which have popped up concerning Nintendo's NX. So, supposedly these new rumours say that the system is more powerful than both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and also very easy to develop for. Now, these rumours come to us from a individual by the name of Indie Gamer Chick, at least that's her Twitter handle. She's also got her own website and a few other bits and pieces as well. Now, she does have a fairly okay reputation when it comes to leaks. Primarily these come, or rather her reputation mostly stems from the fact that she did actually unveil the fact that there would be a Shovel Knight amiibo, and of course that did turn out to be true. She does have a few connections in the indie development scene as well. Now, she says, and I quote, "All I know is that it's more powerful than the PS4/Xbox One and is technically accurate. That's easy to develop for and optimize for gaming. The controller reports are, to the best of my knowledge, bogus. The horsepower rumors are true. I complained for years about the Wii U's horsepower being the reason it failed, and a couple of people include me in that NX was more powerful." Regarding the controller inputs, she added that, and I quote, "I don't know anything about the NX inputs except there will be more than one option." That's kind of bizarre, but I can see how that could potentially work, and I was clued in about it being powerful. I should clarify that I was told that it's more than one way to control the NX, but I'm not sure there are multiple inputs. So, there's a couple of things I want to tackle regarding these rumours. First of all, obviously Salt Truck. So, it's up to you if you want to believe that they're accurate or not. Personally, I'm lending myself to the fact that whether she knows that from the perspective of someone in the industry, whether someone has told her this, I wouldn't be surprised if they are actually fairly accurate, or at least somewhat true, because we've heard quite a few developers now who have gone on record and said that it's about as powerful as the PS4/X1, and some developers have gone on record and said that it's actually quite powerful. They've not gone into specifics, but they've compared it to somewhere around like a medium to high spec PC, which would obviously be fairly impressive. Now, the easy to develop for thing is probably the biggest deal. Now, a lot of people cite that the Wii U's horsepower is the reason it failed, and she is certainly blaming that. I don't necessarily know if that's true. I think that the Wii U had a series of unfortunate events which transpired to basically make it I wouldn't say a dead duck, but it made it less able in the marketplace than it should have. And most of this, to be honest with you, is partly Nintendo's fault, but it's also, I think, the fact that gamers kind of wanted something else. I think the market was going in a different direction. Now, I think partly Nintendo's fault, because the development tools initially for the system were not that great. It was underpowered, also not great. And the fact that they called it the Wii U is a pretty big disaster, and Nintendo's YouTube policy, I don't know why they have that policy. It's absolutely ludicrous, and we all know it's one of the big problems. And the fact that they keep doing stupid stuff, like with the whole Mario Maker situation at the moment, that's also really, really hurting them. The fact that Mario levels are just disappearing, and people are asking Nintendo, why is my creation being deleted? Why are these levels being disappearing? And it's not like it's a level that was around for, say, 2 months and 3 people played on it. No. In some cases, you'll have like tens of thousands of folks who have played this level and really loved it, but it's still being deleted, and no one can quite figure out why. And Nintendo are being really cagey about it and don't communicate well with their audience, and I think that's hurt it. But I also feel that we as customers got really swept up with the hype that was, of course, the PS4, the Xbox One, virtual reality, and some of that combined with the fact that the Wii U is kind of difficult to, develop for. I think that's the reason it failed. So, in my opinion, saying that the Wii U's horsepower for the reason it failed it's true, but it's also only part of the reason. It's not the full story. That's my personal beliefs, anyway. Now, before I get going, there are a couple of other little tidbits I'd like to share regarding the fact that the Wii U, the NX has multiple ways to control that. I wouldn't be surprised. I feel that there's multiple potentials for this, and don't quote me on any of them, because at the end of the day I do not have a development kit. I do not know John, who has one. I'm just speculating. I wouldn't be surprised if we got, I wouldn't necessarily say an evolution of the Wii U's controller, but something that was, I don't like to say gimmicky, but something that wasn't what we would consider to be a normal device. It was something that was experimental, I guess the best way of putting it would be. Then there's the potential that we could have a very standardized type of controller, or we could also have maybe some type of mobile interface or hookup as well. I really wouldn't be surprised. And then there is also the possibility that we could potentially have the ability to use backwards compatibility for, let's say, the GameCube controllers, or maybe the original Wii controllers, or potentially even the Wii U controller. That also wouldn't surprise me, as Nintendo, to their credit, does have a fair degree of backwards compatibility that they bake into their system. I don't necessarily know whether they're going to be able to extend that from the, let's say, NX to the Wii U. Theoretically, they might be able to. After all, Microsoft, in a pretty damn impressive, actually, I wasn't going to say pretty impressive, damn impressive piece of software engineering, they managed to get the Xbox One running some 360 games. It does require quite a bit of work on their end, but still, it's damn impressive that they managed to emulate that locally on their own system. Maybe, potentially, if the NX has enough horsepower, it could also run Wii U games. If memory served, the Wii U's CPU is actually not quite as powerful as the Xbox 360's, so that could certainly lend some that could certainly help them out, basically. So even if you're assuming that the NX is only as powerful as the Xbox One and not more powerful, the fact that the Wii U isn't as powerful as the 360 obviously means they've got some helping hands there. I'm kind of looking forward to the NX. I feel that the system can survive in the marketplace. What will be interesting, though, is the fact that the PlayStation 4.5, which is looking like it's real, the PlayStation 4K, whatever you want to call it, it's looking like it's real. We've got so many verified reports, of course, unverified in the sense that Sony haven't said, yeah, we're doing this. But, you know, we've had the Wall Street Journal, we've had so many bloody gaming websites, a lot of indie developers have said in closed rooms, supposedly, that, you know, we know Sony are doing this. A lot of AAA people, once again, whispers. A lot of industry insiders, whispers. And that's generally a sign. You know, if it's just on a couple of different websites from an unreputable source, you can potentially say that's not going to happen. In this instance, it looks like the PlayStation 4.5 or PlayStation 4K, especially if the Wall Street Journal are reporting it, you probably are going to say that it's coming out. The reason I'm tying that into the NX is because I have a feeling Sony coming out with the NX is going to be really interesting for the market, because if they do, are Nintendo doing a bit of panicking right now? Like, had they originally, like, let's say that the PS4 is a 100%. So let's say the Xbox One is a 75%, 80% console. The PS4 in terms of performance is 100%. Maybe Nintendo had originally anticipated that their NX was going to put out 125%, 130% performance. So it's going to be faster in the marketplace, and we're going to use that as marketing. But then Sony came along, maybe inadvertently because of the PlayStation VR, or maybe deliberately because of the NX coming out, and they said, yeah, we're going to release a system that's 150%. So it's basically 1.5 times faster than the PS4, which, as we've discussed multiple times over now, if they're using the Polaris architecture 14nm, it wouldn't be that difficult to put in £100 or $100 rather of APU, and they could get an awful lot of performance, at least 3 T-flops of computing performance there. So they could easily go 1.5 to 2 T-flop, 2.5 to 3 T-flops of computing power without too much difficulty, and that would mean very interesting things for Nintendo. So maybe Maybe they're going to want to increase the clock speeds. We don't really know. And unfortunately, we don't technically even know even if the NX is going to be unveiled this year. I mean, we keep hearing rumours about it, and a lot of folks are expecting to see it at the normal conferences, or be unveiled on one of the normal conferences, like E3 for example, and eventually we see it released, just maybe like the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. But all we can do is really wait. So, are these rumours true? Are these latest rumours true? Well, unfortunately, all we can do is wait and see. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It turned out to be a bit lengthier than what I originally anticipated. But I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.